For patients and friends or family, what to expect at a diagnosis meeting. We've made this video for people who are about to have a diagnosis meeting with the Memory Service, both as a patient and a family member or friend. We hope it will be useful in helping you prepare and know what to expect. What is a diagnosis meeting? The meeting will tell you the results of any tests you have had done. For example, the brain scan and memory tests. You may also receive a diagnosis, a name or cause of your symptoms. Memory services may give a diagnosis of dementia, mild cognitive impairment, or discover other reasons for your symptoms, such as low mood or stress, sleep problems, or medication side effects. Preparing for a diagnosis meeting.
Are you ready for a cup of tea now, or do you want to wait till later?
It is useful to prepare for this diagnosis session. If you have a family member or friend coming with you, we advise that you sit down and talk about the meeting before you go. Real stories. How did you prepare for your diagnosis?
I did have a look at things online, just to read up on a little bit, but we didn't actually know what, you just think it's dementia. And I didn't realise there's so many different types of dementia. And so it was basically like, I'll take a notepad with me and I'll see what, I'll write things down as they're telling me things.
I didn't do anything at all because at that time I was still in full-time employment. So I had things of work going on in my head.
Here are some things you can talk about. Any symptoms you have been experiencing and how to talk to the doctor about these. What have you noticed and what has your companion noticed? It is useful to focus on things you are still doing well as things that have become harder. Your expectations for the meeting. What do you think your diagnosis might be? Is there anything in particular you are worried about? How can your family member or friend help in the meeting? Would you like them to write notes? Can they help you remember things? If you do get a diagnosis, do you want to know all the details? For example, what might happen in the future? Or would you prefer the clinicians talk to your family or friend about it? If you have some questions for the clinician, write them down so you remember. You could keep a notepad on the table and write these as they come into your head. How do I feel? You may be worrying about the meeting and what might happen. It is important to remember that whatever happens in the meeting doesn't change who you are. You can still continue doing things you enjoy and also learning new things. If you have a family member or friend coming, maybe talk about how they can support you emotionally and what you would like them to do in the consultation. For example, would you like them to ask questions? You may be surprised how you feel during and after the meeting. People have mixed emotions on receiving a diagnosis. Real stories. How did you feel at the diagnosis meeting?
So when I finally got the diagnosis, when the question mark was removed of it, and I got the definite diagnosis, it was such a relief to me. It's definitely, this is something I've got, so I could deal with it,
Dumbfounded, weren't we, Simon? Shocked. You were shocked. You never said a lot, did you, actually, when you were sat there? Because it was like, oh, my life's just gone then. We were scared because we were thinking, you're letting us walk out this door and we're on our own.
Well, when we went to get our first diagnosis, I was a bit apprehensive because I had a father with dementia. We went through it before.
You came with me, didn't you? And then they said, and it didn't bother me because I was all right. Do you know what I mean?
Before I got my diagnosis, I was feeling nervous. And when he did deliver the diagnosis, I was shocked. I thought, he's got the wrong person. I'm trying to process what he's told me I've got, and I'm missing everything else.
What will happen after the meeting? It is useful to think about what might happen after the meeting. The clinician may suggest some new medication or suggest some changes to your current medication. How would you feel about this? There also might be conversations to be had about setting up your will and lasting power of attorney. These are good conversations to be had at any age, so this could be a good opportunity to get organised for the future. If you do get a diagnosis of dementia, please know that you will have to have a conversation about continuing to drive. And you will have to inform the DVLA about your diagnosis. Living well. Whatever your diagnosis, you can still live well and have a happy life. A diagnosis does not change who you are. You are still able to do the things you have been doing and can even learn new hobbies. As we get older, it gets more important to keep active and engaged with others. Real stories, how to live well.
Actually, life's very good. It's better than we thought, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, it hasn't stopped us from doing anything. We've been on 4 cruises. We've been on holidays on our own. We go on holiday with our children and our grandchildren. We look after our grandchildren, don't we?
You have to remap your life. You're going to have to do things a different way. All right, it's going to take a bit longer, but you get there.
It's certain things we don't go out in the evening to doing entertainment or anything, but we find that we've altered it by doing things in the afternoon.
I'm too tired at night.
Helps, you know, we do have our social life, but it's an afternoon one. So, yeah, if anybody's up for a party in the afternoon, we'd be there.
Yeah. After 6 o'clock, sorry, can't
After
make
6
it.
o'clock, sorry, it's gone. But yeah, I think we have adjusted quite well. You know, you've got to make the most of what you got, haven't you, really?
Yeah.
I suddenly realised there was all these studies and research things that I could go into, and luckily for me, Joe from Bristol University had this study with photography and cameras, and because that was a passion with me, I jumped in it, that one, and I haven't really looked back since. I've just constantly just embedded myself in more studies with different universities, and that's given me my purpose back. It is keeping my brain cells oiled and working a bit more, like, you know. So by doing the studies themselves, it keeps my candle burning a little bit brighter for a little bit longer.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it useful.